Yeah, Bryce Mitchell is cooked, man. This kid, this is gonna be a. I've got to tread lightly with this one. I got to tread lightly. I got to be careful what I say, or I don't even know if I could joke about this. I don't know, but we're gonna talk about Bryce Mitchell being named the can I even say that word? Ariel Hawani of the week, the anti-Ariel of the week. That's kind of the leading topic. We're also going to talk about Rampage Jackson being a bit of a moron. Sorry, Rampage and Rampage fans, but what he said was so delusional. It has nothing to do with Raja Jackson. I'm so sick of that whole topic. Of course, praying for Psycho Stu. Hopefully he continues to make a speedy recovery, but I'm kind of sick of that whole topic. No offense. But this is, he talked about something so delusional, we have to talk about it. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to talk about Oliveira and Gamrot officially being made. I'll give a bit of a prediction on that one. And I know I'm late on it, but it's still worth talking about. So, starting with Bryce Mitchell reacts to being named the anti-Ariel Hawani, the anti-Ariel of the week. I don't know if I can say that word. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be soft or anything. So, first of all, just that alone. How the fuck does one get named the anti-blank of the week? How? How does that even happen? Like, I understand. What the fuck? I understand that Bryce Mitchell said on a podcast what he said about the H-man, the mustache man. I get that. Personally, I don't, like, I don't know. I don't really care. Like, oh, they're going to fucking get me for saying that. Look, I'm just saying personally, he can say whatever the fuck he wants. Obviously, Dana feels the same, even though Dana did berate him, which is so funny. I got to say this, that Dana White, like, did a press conference. Well, he didn't do a press conference, but he was doing a press conference, and before the press conference officially started, he spent a few minutes berating Bryce Mitchell, calling him an idiot, a moron, all these things. So he berated Bryce Mitchell. Now, I'm sure Dana has done this for other fighters, but there are fighters that are legitimately committing crimes or have committed crimes in the past that are on the roster. How about fucking, what's his name? The guy that looks like Boom Gang, Cedric Dumas. The guy that commits a crime every other week. I'm not even kidding. He does. Now, I don't know what his crimes are, but I think one of them has to be like domestic violence, I think. Oh, but Bryce Mitchell, we got to give a whole speech on how he's anti this because he said something on a podcast. We get it. He's a moron. We know this. Bryce Mitchell is not the sharpest tool in the shed. We know this. He's dumb. But they spent a whole thing. So that's a whole separate thing, right? Now, randomly, he gets named the anti of the week. I don't know. I don't know what exactly he said to be named this. If you guys know, let me know in the comments down below. He says a couple of slurs won't get you this award. A couple of mean tweets won't do it. You have to know history and scripture and preach them in a way that is so factual that the enemy is so scared by the information you spew, they want to kill you. So Bryce Mitchell is just, he's a wild man. I got to say, Bryce, this is why I hope this isn't the case. I do not think this guy will be employed in the UFC by the end of 2025. I mean, look, I commend him for speaking his mind, for saying what's on his head, what's on his mind, what's in his head. And again, I admit that I think the guy's a bit of a dumbass. I don't think he's an anti-whatever. I don't personally think so. I don't know. Let me just say that a lot of people get called that for a pretty small thing. Look, this is the truth. I'm going to say this side tangent here, and this might get me in trouble, but I don't care. Fuck it. The world's going to end at this point. Who gives a fuck? Like, words like that, anti-whatever, or racist, or homophobic, these words get thrown around a lot. This is the truth. They get thrown around a lot. So when I'm seeing Bryce Mitchell get named anti-whatever of the week, it's like, well, what did he say? Like, he might actually be that, by the way. He might be that, but I'm just saying, like, I've made a joke in the past that, John Jones, he's black and gay. He needs to pick a struggle. That's a joke. And I have a lot of black viewers, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't give a shit because you can tell that it's a joke. But somebody might see that and say, he's a racist. So this is what I'm saying. These words don't really... I'm just saying, you get what I'm trying to say without saying it. So he says, to really be a high-level target, you have to be willing to give everything, all sponsors, all your reputation, all your money, your family, and life. And I am willing. I trust the Lord with our fate. I don't care for my own life. I care for his plan. Remember, if you're spreading the gospel correctly, we're not supposed to anger. Oh my God, they're killing me. Oh shit, they got me, chat. They got me. Oh my gosh. Ariel got me. Anyways, that's actually crazy. I almost fucking choked while reading this. Remember, if you're spreading the gospel correctly, we're supposed to anger demons and bring the sword to them. So he's calling, I don't know if he's trying to call the people that called him the anti-blank of the week demons, but that's not helping his case. And I'm just saying as well, the reason I also said this guy may not be in the UFC by the end of the year, like, this is just a fact, but like, look at who is the owner of TKO, which is the owner promotion, the owner company of the UFC and WWE. Just look at the CEO of it. It's the truth, man. I'm not saying anything that's like a lie or an opinion. So, not peace, fear not. No man can pluck you from the hands of the Lord, though they they compass me about it. He will strike them down like chaff in the wind. They will be gone before my Lord. So, I mean, as a Christian, I respect it, but it seems like he's kind of doubling down. So I just wanted to include this here. This is kind of the main topic of the video. This is crazy. I mean, the fact that, again, I guess we can pull up the picture of it, right? So here's the picture of it. I don't know what is the organization that named him this. Anti of the week, Bryce Mitchell. This is insane, man. Like, I don't know if it's a major company. I mean, the tweet that I found this on is a pretty big account, and it's got a lot of likes and stuff on it. It says, stop anti-blank, holding anti-blanks accountable, anti-blank of the week, Bryce Mitchell. Okay, stop. Maybe I'm misinformed. Maybe Bryce Mitchell has said some insane things. Maybe he's based. No, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful what I say. But let me know if you think Bryce Mitchell is based in the comments. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Bryce Mitchell is not gonna be employed by the end of the year, especially if he loses his next fight. They're waiting. They're just waiting for an excuse to cut this guy. I respect Dana for not cutting him. I respect Dana for the whole free speech thing. But at the same time, man, like, Dana's got bosses. And Dana himself is checked down. Dana himself is not going to be in the UFC in the next few years. So he's got people above him. At the end of the day, Dana has bosses of his own. So if those bosses say, yo, you got an anti-blank on your roster, get him the fuck out of here, he's getting the fuck out of here, especially a guy like Bryce, who's not the most exciting fighter. We're not talking about John Jones. We're not talking about Ilya Topuria. We're talking about Bryce Mitchell. So, unfortunately, the GOAT Bryce Mitchell, as base as you may think he is, I will not say whether or not I think he is base, but I will say that Bryce Mitchell, you're cooked, buddy. So let's move on to the next topic, Rampage Jackson. Now, Rampage Jackson, we're just going to play this clip, and I want you guys to give me your thoughts, and I'm going to give my thoughts, and I could have, let's just react. Let's just react. Let's just react.
If you dropped a prime Rampage Jackson in today's UFC, how do you think he does?
I would sell every materialistic item that I own right now to buy a time machine, go back in time, come back as prime Rampage in UFC right now. Everything but my soul. Prime Rampage will be unstoppable in the UFC right now. Uncle Goliath, that daughter standing, I'll fuck his ass up. Everybody there, I'm like, move. I'll go right through that weight class.
If you dropped a prime...
Now, he could be joking. That's why I didn't want to, base the whole video around that. I feel like the Bryce Mitchell topic is a little bit more... it's a bit of a bigger... It is an objectively a bigger deal. I mean, that's a pretty insane thing that he's been named at. And, of course, the ramifications could be pretty detrimental. I mean, I could post a video... By the time I post the video, they might legitimately announce Bryce Mitchell's been cut from the roster. So we'll see. We'll, keep an eye on that whole situation. But this is also something that's just, look, Rampage Jackson's a dumbass. This is the same guy that said, I don't think I could hang. I swear this guy actually said in the past that he doesn't think he could hang with the modern fighters because the sport has evolved so much. Now he's saying that, oh, I would run through guys like Ankalaev. Brother, you wouldn't even get past fucking Alonzo Menifield. Shut the fuck. Honestly. No, look, he probably beats Alonzo Menifield, but if you look at light heavyweight, which is where he would presumably fight, even though he's an overgrown middleweight, let's be honest, right? Which is why I don't rate John Jones beating him that highly, because he's an old, overgrown middleweight who that's one of John Jones' best wins, but fuck John Jones. Anyways, realistically, right, he'd be at light heavyweight. Even if it was at middleweight, you're not winning at middleweight. But if it was at light heavyweight, you got to go through Khalil Roundtree, Yuri Prohaska. Fucking Azamat Mirzakhanov would put this guy in a body bag. Fucking Bogdan Guskov would put this guy in a body bag. Fucking Dominic Reyes would probably sleep him. Oberg would just outpoint him to a decision. Jan Blachowicz would probably beat him, let's be honest. Even current old man Jan Blachowicz, as much as that pains me to say, Yuri Prohaska would fold him up and just, you know what Yuri would do. I already said Khalil. Fucking Alex, of course, would destroy him. Ankalaev would destroy him. What are we talking about here? This is so delusional. Of course, I was going to say he's a fighter, but he's not even a fighter, so what's the point of him saying this? This is just like an ego thing. Like, you're not even a fighter. You're not an active fighter, so there's no point of you kind of bigging yourself up in this way. Even if it's, but Prime Rampage was a marauder. No, he was not, bro. Prime Rampage gets out fucking leg kicked. Bro, Prime Rampage gets KO'd by Pereira within a few minutes. He gets fucking slept by Ankalaev or subbed, honestly. He probably gets subbed by Paul Craig. Let's be honest. I'm sorry, man. The sport has evolved. Of course, I'm not one of these guys that thinks, dude, the sport is so much better now and the skill is so much. It's not like evolved to a crazy extent. But there are certain guys, like, in my opinion, Rampage, Anderson Silva. I think Anderson could do okay in this era, but not as great as some people try to make it seem. Fucking Forrest Griffin was a top contender. These guys all get molested in modern day UFC. So Rampage, you're a dumbass. And yeah, now let's move on to the final thing of today. The final topic of today's video. Oliveira versus Gamrot. If you made it this far, please like and share and blah, blah, blah. Oliveira versus Gamrot has officially been announced. So I did a video which is doing good numbers, so thank you guys for that. Go check it out if you haven't. It's still a great video on Gamrot sort of being one of the most ducked fighters, the most ducked fighter in the UFC in my opinion, at least at lightweight, right? And I said Oliveira was one of these guys that's been ducking him. And I had a few comments like, well, Oliveira, what are you going to say now? Oliveira is fighting him, bro. But like still, my point still stood. Like, Oliveira did not want to fight Gamrot. He said it with his own mouth. Like that, I didn't make that up. It wasn't a rumor. It wasn't a fucking report. I wasn't making that up. Oliveira from his own mouth on a podcast in an interview said, I don't want to fight Gamrot because I've been preparing for a striker. That's what he said. That's not something I made up. So like for people saying, oh, well, Oliveira fought him, so he's not a duck. Well, he obviously did not want to fight Gamrot. But it's very obvious there were not a lot of other options. I mean, realistically, what was it going to be? Gamrot or Diego Lopez? Or I saw No Bromo posted this on a community post. Shout out to No Bromo. He posted like that it could have been Rufy versus Oliveira because I guess there was someone on Twitter that was fake, obviously. I didn't really believe it, but that would have been atrocious. Rufy versus Oliveira would have been atrocious. Nonetheless, I like this fight. I'm just saying Oliveira obviously didn't want to fight Gamrot, but it's happening. So you got to respect him for taking it, even if he didn't want to fight him. Obviously, Gamrot is fucking ready. Look, I'm a Gamrot fan. And I'm going to say this, and you guys might hate me for this, especially you Oliveira fans. And I'm one of you guys. I am. But I'm rooting for Gamrot. I am rooting for Mateusz Gamrot to get his day. I'm somebody that has been... I just like Gamrot. I don't know. There's some fighters like... I'm sure you guys have that one or two weird fighters that you're just a big fan of for some reason. Like, I'm sure, some of you guys are maybe a Peyton Talbot fan. I don't know. Like, there's fighters that you connect with. And Gamrot, for some reason, is a fighter that I've always liked since I've seen him fight. And I've always been rooting for him, and I'm not going to not root for him in this fight. I'm definitely going to root for him to beat Oliveira. I like Oliveira, but Gamrot's coming. No, realistically, though, let's be honest. Even though I'm going to root for Gamrot, Oliveira's going to win this. It's a 5-rounder, which benefits, I would say, Oliveira. Though, it's not the worst for Gamrot because, maybe he could gas out Oliveira and then use his grappling to kind of just stall a decision. Maybe it could be like that. I do think, Gamrot and Armin Sarukian are definitely different type of wrestlers and different types of grapplers. I think Armin overall is a better grappler. Like, he has better jiu-jitsu, better ground and pound. I think Gamrot is a better pure wrestler. Like, if they were just having a pure wrestling match, oh my God, I can't speak. Gamrot probably beats him about 7 or 8 out of 10 times. With that being said, this is an MMA matchup. And I also have been noticing, I've been watching some Gamrot fights. I watched the Dan Hooker fight, which was his last fight. No. Well, he fought Ludwig Klein, but before that it was Dan Hooker. And I saw the Ludwig Klein fight. There wasn't a lot in that fight that told me like anything too different about Gamrot. Like, he got tagged a couple times and he had some success with his wrestling. And, nothing about that fight was like, yo, Gamrot's really improved. So that's kind of the thing with that fight. But he still won like pretty comfortably. But the Dan Hooker fight, what I found interesting was what Gamrot likes to do is he likes to go for these open takedowns where sometimes he'll leave his neck out. Now, that's against Dan Hooker. Maybe he's going to be more cognizant when he goes for those takedowns that, hey, let me not leave my neck out, or Oliveira's going to pull a guillotine right away, or he'll do something and then go for the back. So maybe he'll be a bit smarter with the way he wrestles, but I could just see Oliveira catching him in a sub. If not that, he's probably going to piece up Gamrot on the feet as well. Look, Gamrot's decent on the feet, but he's not good enough to keep Oliveira off of him or to keep Oliveira's pressure off of him. One thing I will say, though, is Oliveira stands very tall, and he does charge forward, and he leaves his legs very open. When you do that, the double leg is right there, the single leg is right there, the takedown is right there. Sorry, I think there's a booger. The takedown is right there. And so when you fight like that, it leaves you very open to get taken down. But the thing is, Oliveira off his back is extremely dangerous, and I just don't see Gamrot having the ability to just control him for 5 rounds and not getting subbed or not getting put into submissions. And again, 5 rounds. If this was a 3-rounder, I actually think that favors Gamrot because it's similar to the Armin fight where he could do more work in a shorter period of time and edge out a decision, edge out a close decision. But over 5 rounds, in my opinion, that benefits Oliveira because that gives him more time to find submissions, to land good shots. And I think, I'm going to say specifically, I could see Gamrot having a good first round, maybe a good second round as well. But I think rounds 3 and 4, Oliveira is he's gonna start using his striking, and he's going to maybe even drop Gamrot. I've seen Gamrot drop by Beneil Dariush, Dan Hooker, Jalen Turner. Like, he's pretty hittable. And I think this will be no different. Oliveira's got wicked power. I could see him catching Gamrot with something, maybe jumping on a guillotine or like a rear naked choke, and I could see him getting the sub, So I'm going to say like rounds, maybe 3. I'm going to say rounds 3. I'm going to say like early round 3. Gamrot does good in round 1. Does good with his wrestling. Round 2, it's a bit closer. Maybe Oliveira throws up a sub or two, maybe a triangle I could see. Some kind of a triangle or like a guillotine, but Gamrot kind of just survives. And then round 3, I could see, why did I say survives now? It survives. That sounded zesty though. Survives. Anyways, and then round 3, I could see Oliveira having a lot of success on the feet, starting to be a bit more comfortable. Gamrot slowing down a little bit. Of course, this guy, it's short notice. It's 2 or 3 weeks notice, or maybe it's like 4 weeks notice, but it's short notice. Like, yes, he's in shape, but he wasn't preparing for a fight, let alone a 5-round fight with Charles do Bronx Oliveira. So I could see Oliveira piecing him up, catching him with maybe a left hook or something, stinging Gamrot, maybe dropping him really bad. And then Oliveira jumps on a sub, rear naked choke, squeezes Gamrot's life out of his eyes, taps him out, or maybe puts him to sleep. Charles Oliveira is back. Charlie do Bronx Oliveira. Anyways, so I'm going to be very sad because I'm a Gamrot fan, but it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. What were your thoughts on what I spoke about? Don't know what else to say. Like the video. That was so gay, man. That was so gay. Anyways, like the video, comment, share, sub. Let me know, again, what were your thoughts on what I spoke about. Is Bryce Mitchell cooked? Is Rampage Jackson retarded? Is Gamrot cooked? Is Oliveira going to go on another championship run? Peace.